Hello, Secretary Moppin.
Hello.
Thank you for accepting our invitation to this series of the conferences, The Fact. In this session, in this episode, we're going to talk about the third wave of Intifada that is well known among all people as the uprising of Palestinians against the oppression of Israel. So I would like to introduce my co-host Fatima, and she's going to ask the questions concerning this issue, and we'll discuss about the different aspects of the Intifada.
Hi, thank you for being here. As the first question, I would like to ask you that what do you think are the main reasons of the Palestinian Intifada, and if we could call the recent battles, the newest battles, as the Third Intifada?
Well, the reasons that the Third Intifada has broken out is because of the fact that the Israelis have been doing everything they can to provoke a confrontation. They have been specifically targeting the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a sacred site to Muslims all over the world. They've been, targeting it, harassing people there, making it impossible for people to conduct routine religious activities there. Furthermore, they have given the settlers basically open permission to engage in terrorist acts of violence against Palestinians. Settlers have basically been told they will face no penalty if they go out and murder random Palestinians, torture Palestinian children, just do horrendous things. Furthermore, with modern technology, these instances are recorded and circulated. It's not like these things are just secret. They cannot say people are lying. It's very obvious what they're doing, but the Israelis make no effort to back down or even to apologize for what they're doing. With the Al-Aqsa Mosque, with the settler killings, and then them being widely circulated, this is making the situation for the Palestinians intolerable. And so they are rising up and responding to a campaign of terrorism being waged against them. Partially, I think the reason that the Israelis have escalated their violence is because the world is turning against them. If you see the fact that there's the negotiations with Iran, which is something that Netanyahu is opposed to. If you see the fact that there is there's so much opposition to Israel and criticism of their policies which violate human rights, the Israelis are very desperate. They cannot win the argument intellectually. They can't make intellectual arguments, so they're trying to win the argument with brute force and violence.
Thank you.
And my question to ask you that, what are the reasons of the Quds Intifada, or Quds battles? And do you think if we can call the new battles the Third Intifada?
I think that the latest round of conflict will eventually become known as the Third Intifada. As far as I've been able to read, the Palestinians themselves have not labeled it as such. But based upon, again, the most recent wave of conflict, I think we will look back on this, and whether it be look back on this in a month or look back on this in 3 or 4 months, and we will see this as the beginning of the Third Intifada. And the reason I believe we will do so is because I don't see Israel backing off. I don't see Israel doing anything other than becoming more aggressive. And the more aggressive that Israel becomes, then the more aggressive the response has to be. And I don't see this as anything more than Israel trying to inflate the situation so that they can try to put the spin on this that the Palestinians are the ones that are being violent and that the Israelis are the ones that are responding to Palestinian aggression. But everything that I can see, and everybody who has any level of unbiased ability to provide any analysis is saying that this is nothing more than Israel continuing to exert more and more oppression upon the Palestinians.
But in research, it is completely aware that Muslims are very sensitive about the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Why do you think they continue disrespecting it?
Because Muslims are so hold the mosque in such high regard, and this is again just another example of how by disrespecting Muslims, by paying absolutely no regard for the concerns of Muslims, they are basically baiting Muslims into a response so that again they can show on television and they can show on through American mainstream media that Muslims are the ones that are being aggressive. This mosque and this region is a holy site for both. And I don't understand why, if Israelis want to operate in peace in this area, why they find or why they think aggression and violence is the way for them to reach peace. Peace is not the absence of war. Peace is the absence of the need for war. But as long as the Israelis continue to fan these flames and keep goading or antagonizing Muslims, particularly at their holy sites, what other response do they expect? One of the things that I have really come to appreciate in my time here in your country, in fact, just a quick story. I was at the bazaar talking to a shopkeeper who wants to go to the United States. And I asked him, why does he want to go to the United States? And he said that because of freedom and all of the things that he sees on television. And I asked him, well, why do you want to leave a country as beautiful as this to go to the United States? And he said to me, don't get it confused. I love my country. I will die defending my country because of my religion, because of my mother and my sister. He was very, very clear. I will give my life defending my country. And it's almost hard for me to describe the sense I got, but the depths to which he's willing to give his life for his belief. I was talking to another young man who said the same thing. He said, you have to understand that in our religion, dying in support of the just cause is a win. He said, if we engage in battle against the oppressor and we repel the oppressor, we win. If we lose our lives in the course of repelling the oppressor, we still win. Which is different than the way that has been interpreted or displayed in mainstream American media. Mainstream American media has depicted this with the saying about if you die fighting the infidel, you go to heaven and you get 7 virgins. The 7 virgins piece of the story has never been mentioned with the individuals that I've talked to. It has nothing to do with 7 virgins. It has everything to do with understanding a commitment to the cause, a commitment to repelling oppression. And the honor, which is what this is all about, comes in the battle, not necessarily the victory. And so when you, in fact, Minister Farrakhan said this a number of years ago, 1993, when he was talking about the invasion of Iraq, he said Americans don't understand what they're about to engage in here. They don't understand the mindset of the Muslim soldier, the Muslim people. He said, you've never fought a soldier with the heart of a Muslim. He said, because American soldiers, what they want to do when they go into war is they want to return home in the same condition that they left. They want to get a paycheck. He said, Muslims aren't concerned about that. They're concerned about justice. They're concerned about repelling the oppressor. And when you, as he said, you've never fought a soldier with the heart of a Muslim. And based upon the interactions that I've had with people here, I truly understand now what that means. And that may be a very long way around your question, and I apologize. But this is the Israelis are definitely on the wrong track here. And the final point is, what disheartens me is the United States role in all of this. President Obama came into office talking about the United States being a fair, independent arbiter in this conflict, and the United States has been anything but that. When Prime Minister Netanyahu came to the United States and met with President Obama and stuck his finger in President Obama's face and tried to lecture him in the Oval Office, that was the opportunity for President Obama to look at Netanyahu and say, you know what? Your defense money is cut. And it's cut because the United States has been in violation of the Arms Export Control Act, giving money to Israel when Israel is using that money to oppress the Palestinians. That violates American law. I'm not saying anything here that is anti-Semitic. I'm not saying anything here that is anti-United States. I am looking at United States law, and I am merely saying that the United States, as it is engaging in this conflict, is in violation of United States law. And more Americans need to understand that, and more Americans need to hold their elected representatives accountable for that. Because in a democracy, which is what we're supposed to be, that's what we do.
By the first question.
Thank you, Annie. Hi and welcome. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
For the first question, I want to know, in your opinion, what are the main reasons of the Third Intifada, and if we can call the new round of battles as the Third Intifada?
First of all, I want to thank Allah for blessing me to be in Iran at this time, and I have to thank Allah for blessing me to be a part of the delegation that's invited by the New Horizon to bring to the attention of the Iranian people the struggle that we have with the killing of our young brothers and sisters in the streets of America. And as we view the Intifada, the standing up of the Palestinian youth, I think it should be a lesson to the Israelis that a people who are determined to be free will never be defeated, and that the legacy of struggle for their land, their human rights, and their dignity will not go away, regardless of how many homes of the Palestinians that you destroy, how many of their olive trees that you cut down, how many men or women that you imprison, and how many of them you kill. The struggle will not go away. The lesson that the Europeans and the Americans learned through struggle when they begin to free the Africans and the people of Southeast Asia is that people who are determined to be free will struggle unto death, and they will pass the legacy of struggle to their children. So to be in Iran and to talk about this means a lot to me in my many years of struggle in America. It means that there is attention from the outside world, which the Palestinians hoped for many years, when the outside world neglected their struggle. And their struggle is a legitimate struggle. I've visited occupied Palestine 3 times, and I watched this struggle. The first Intifada came to my consciousness after the killing of Abu Jihad. His name was Wazir, the vicious killing by the Israeli agents in Tunisia with his family present. And they killed him because he was the father of struggle. He was the father of the first rising up of the Palestinian youth, and the legacy of that passed on. So you had a second Intifada, and now a third one. because he was the cornerstone that inspired the young people. He was not trying to inspire them to go and die. He was not trying to inspire them with suicide bombings, which mean that they used their bodies as the weapons that they did not have, that the Israelis possessed. But he started something that did not die, and it's a sign to the Western world when you struggle against a people who are determined to be free.
Thank you. The Israeli regime is completely aware that Muslims are sensitive about Al-Aqsa Mosque, but they continue to disrespect this mosque. Why do you think the reason is?
I think that they're trying to prove a point. And the point, even in a cultural expression, they wrote a song in America, and they used it in movies and pictures, and they influenced other people to use this music, even black musicians. And the song goes that this land is ours, this land is mine. And they used this cultural expression that penetrated a people in America that were not politically aware. One of the things that they depend on is the lack of knowledge about international affairs among the American people. In particular, the black community